In order to look at what is going on in the account, we had to look at what was counted year over year and what the changes are. So last year, they made 1.4 million for that ad spend. This year, we increased the ad spend $100,000. And now that metric that they were tracking last year at 1.4 is now 1.9. So we have $457,000 more inside of that same conversion action that has been counted over a year. This is the effect of counting a primary conversion action differently. The primary conversion action that we're now counting is the new customer. That's why you see this thing going down, and that's why you see this going up. We have an account, and they sell hats, really cool, very fine hats for both men and women, primarily focused on women. And the Google Ads account has always done a fairly decent job at getting a lot of good branded conversions. And while those branded conversions were doing well for many weeks, months, and years, obviously, the growth of the business wants to scale. So scale was not necessarily possible by going to bottom of the funnel, warm or branded traffic in Google, such as what the same, how Marketing 101 is basically described. So what we're doing is retraining the algorithm. And I truly mean that we've been retraining. That's been the theme of both for Meta and Google when we do a data manipulation prior to an import to teach either the tag or the pixel what to do. We're actually just simply manipulating that data. So the in-platform metrics look different because we're counting something different, but we want to see is the end result or is the growth of the company on the right path based on what we are doing and why. So essentially what we're looking at is just a very simplistic model of, okay, we need more new customer growth and we want to do it very quickly. And our goal is to try to achieve that target a specific audience. Now, the important thing to note is I think that I do have a lot of questions that will come to me either on LinkedIn or whatever it may be is, well, we don't have existing customers. We don't really see existing customers often. And I did a little paint diagram, and that is essentially what I'm going to be just showcasing here just as a simple recap so that the example of the case study makes sense. So if you wouldn't mind sharing screen, I'm going to draw something. So we're back on,
I got drawn.
Back in paint. Yep, because it's
John's cloud.
Yep, my cloud. And so as an example, Google and Meta, all paid media channels will try to go to what we call your website clouds first. And your cloud is your simple website traffic. You have traffic coming in from all areas. You have search, organic, YouTube, you have Meta, you have Instagram, you have affiliate, you have email, whatever you want. Everything is coming to this cloud, and this is where all the people are. So what we're attempting to do is make sure that as we bring people into our website and bring people out, what the data that is being fed in and outside of Google down here is just the new out and the new in. Only new. If you have returning in, we're not necessarily counting those. So what I mean by that, and this is represented visually, is this is June, July, and August of 25 compared to June, July, August of 24. Now, what you're going to notice is that our spend increased by $100,000 during this time between the June, July, August year over year. So we went from spending $400,000 to $500,000. There's a $100,000 increase in our ad spend. And you'll notice that our conversion value only went up 4% and our conversions went down 8%. Now, this was a cause for concern with the client. And because we were looking at in-platform metrics, and he says, hey, we're supposed to be doing better like this time of year. I see you spending 25% more, but it looks like we're not really getting much. And this is actually what Google is seeing at the same time. Google knows that our conversions aren't as quote unquote plentiful. So the reason for that is when we segment by the conversion action, what was counted last year as conversion value was the enhanced data-driven conversion. That's what was being counted previously. And so what we're looking at is when we start to optimize towards new customer purchases that we're pushing into now, we have to look at as we push into new customer acquisition that's represented in the primary conversion action. We can then look to see what happened in our secondary conversion action. So to catch everyone up as to what I just kind of explained is in the account, this is something that has been counted year over year, which was the previous conversion action called enhanced data driven. That is what was counted last year and still counted this year, just not in a primary conversion action. So essentially, Google is focusing on this back then. It is no longer focusing on this now. What it is focusing on is our new customer purchase that we have installed. And the new customer purchase is at 947. So in order to look at what is going on in the account, we have to look at what was counted year over year and what the changes are. So last year, they made $1.4 million for that ad spend. This year, we increased the ad spend $100,000. And now that metric that they were tracking last year, 1.4, is now 1.9. So we have $457,000 more inside of that same conversion action that has been counted over a year. This is the effect of counting a primary conversion action differently. The primary conversion action that we're now counting is the new customer. That's why you see this thing going down, and that's why you see this going up. During this time period of the last 3 months, we've changed from counting all new and returning to only counting new. Very simplistic. We are retraining the algorithm. Now, are we worried about losing existing customers? No. We're trying to train the algorithm on a set of rules, which is the conversions that you see now are the only thing you can count, which is only new customers. So for you to continually produce that result, you have to continually take the very specific similar actions. Search terms, psychographics, demographics, geographics. You have things obviously in your demographics like age. You have, we already updated location, but we are training the algorithm on saying, these are the people you're producing, and these are the people you are not producing. These are the new customers. These are the returning customers. So if you're training yourself on the new and returning, and I give you $1, you can affect the new. You cannot affect the returning. It's inbound. So being primarily inbound, if it is going to see returning customers coming in and making purchases, they're Googling different things. They're taking different actions. The last 3 weeks of their website traffic is irrelevant because if you're buying a product again, it means that you're probably needing that again, but it doesn't mean that you're online researching should you buy the same thing from the same company that you bought from before. Your actions online are different. So a new customer and returning customer online activity a week before the sale are 100% different. It's not that we care about the existing customers. Like we're not saying like, well, I have too many or I don't have enough. This is not going to be a focus of returning. It is a focus of training the algorithm on new only. This allows it to repeat the actions that it is teaching itself and learning. And how is it teaching itself and learning? By the data we're providing it. So the methodology is not the fact that I don't have returning customers, which this company really does not have too much, but it doesn't mean that we weren't spending a portion of our money attempting to get that happen, for that to happen, even if it doesn't. You can have, for example, 100 new customers every month and 0 returning customers every month. And the algorithm is still attempting to spend money on the existing customers, trying to get them to buy again. It doesn't need to be successful. It just needs to happen for this to be inefficient. So we're trying to say what you're doing right now is X percentile bad. So let's see how this actually affected our incremental when we're looking at our results. So I'm going to go ahead and share screen again. And here we go. So
the purpose, just to summarize so far, if I might, is to figure out how long the algorithm is going to retrain itself in one way, shape, or form to a degree. Okay. And this is like a 90 versus 90 day test. So, or because they ran 90 days and then we took over and now you're starting from this, point in time, which was when again? I missed that. When did the NC and the
June.
RC? June. Okay. So
around June,
right,
like
so
first week of June.
All right. So you really are into Yeah, if I'm doing my monthly math right, you are definitely on the 90 days. So, okay, got it.
Yeah.
So this is
Yeah.
fascinating.
And what's nice is that, yeah, this 90 days and we spent $100,000 more. So check this out. If we look at our metrics this year, we have about a conversion value by cost of 2.91, actually 3.16 that's enabled. So we're looking at this saying, hey, we are getting 3x return on new customers only. So if we apply that same logic of I'm getting 3x on new customers only, if I said, well, I spent $100,000 more in this last 90 days, what would we expect to see in revenue? Probably 3 times more. So when we're looking at our spend, we have 105 and 105. Let's just do this math here for fun because we can actually see this how this is coming together. If we're looking at a 105 in spend increase, oops, sorry, there it is. So you see 105,431. So let's do 105,431. And then we multiply that by a 3.16, multiplied by 3.16, we look and say I should have an incremental $333,161. So let's place that off to the side for a moment and let's grab a new calculator. When we look at the old conversion event, which is the enhanced data driven, we see 457,931. So we have 457,931. We were expecting to have an increase of about a 3.16. So if we take this and divide this by a 105,431, we have a 4.34. Now, that 4.34 is a little bit inflated because there is some returning customers in there because that's the old model that was being counted before in enhanced data-driven attribution. So essentially, what we've come to the conclusion of is, yes, every $100,000 we put into this account does 3x new customer attribution or new customer acquisition, which is reflected in your previous data going up by 457,000. So that was the increase. So we spent 100 grand more, 457,000 come-ins. When counting new, we do see that at least 3x is new customers. So 457,931 here, 457,931 divided or subtracting 333,161, I would say that we probably have about $124,000 of returning users, which is about 25 to 35% on average. Now, if we pull up the actual back end of the site during the same time period, we can see, yes, we do have about 35% existing customers. That math checks out. So if we take out 1/3 of the incremental lift of 400,000, it goes back down to 300,000. The math is all aligning here. It is actually kind of uncanny. And yes, we do have 11% more of 460,000, which is what? Or 4.6 million, which is 460,000, which is looking to be almost the exact incremental increase in the previous enhanced data-driven attribution. So all of this math is here for us. It's all there. What we basically just did is we said, when we focus on new, we see a 3x return.